Greetings, dear ones. It is Thursday, March 3rd of 2022, and we are continuing this series of midday meditations. I would also add in there midday musings and meditations, not only musings of what my guidance has been, but also I invite you to really put your 2 cents worth into this mix. And if you're watching live, I encourage you to write down in the comments what you've been observing, what you've been experiencing, what you feel the theme of the day is, what you feel the theme of what's going on in the world, what you've been experiencing personally, because it does have a direct effect. Your situation, your personal experience does have a direct effect on what's going on globally in this evolutionary leap that we are in. Today, sitting in meditation in preparation for today's meditation, it's been, or today's talk, event, whatever you want to call this, it's been very, very apparent through quite a few different clients this week that the effects of what's going on in Ukraine and, you know, that's only the standout right now. It's very, very blatant. It's very, very loud. It very much epitomizes what is going on in this process of changing from the old way to the new way. But this is not a novel occurrence. This happens all the time and has been going on in other countries. We saw the protests in Hong Kong last year, maybe longer ago, and years ago, Tiananmen Square. So there are moments in time when people have been rising up. This is a bit different because of the current moment in time, partially. Also because of the obviousness, and because it's affecting the people in the West. The Middle East and the East, doesn't reach the United States quite as much. So it's far away, just that's a shame. And a lot of people have been having various responses to what's going on right now in Ukraine. Some people it's allowing them to, feel some of the anger that they feel. And then when we're exploring that, certainly in one-on-one sessions, it is very revelatory to the same type of experience that the individual has had in their life, in other relationships, and all the way back to childhood. And the reason for this, it is an amazing catalyst and provocation and opportunity. And when we, so often I hear, oh, I can't watch the news, it's too difficult, it's too painful, it makes me too sad. But that is precisely the point. That is precisely why it is in your consciousness. It's in your view. It's an invitation. It's an opportunity. It's a doorway. It's an opening into your own way of experiencing, either from one side or the other of the conflict. And as a people, we are all so intimately interconnected and interdependent that we can no longer say, oh, gee, what a shame that's going on far away over there. How is it going to affect my prices here? This is deeper. This is stronger. This is more purposeful. This is an opportunity for each person to delve into their own emotions and their own patterning of again, this, we've been looking at different themes every single day. So today is, a focus on feeling. I was working with a client last night, and it was fascinating that she, is a very caring being, a lovely being, but didn't seem to, have any sort of response or feeling one way or the other about what's going on. And as we explored it further, this was a way for her to protect herself, as we all do. When we're young, the intensity of what we're experiencing and the intensity of the emotions within are much too large for a child to deal with. And so the defense system, your unconscious, comes up with all kinds of different methods of distorting the picture or distancing yourself from what's going on, or shutting down any feeling about it. Now, we can't shut it down entirely, but the ensuing years are the modification and perfection and adaptability of that defense system to help you not feel. Now, the challenge with that is that when you are only slightly feeling, or what I call thinking feeling, it is an experience that generally happens in the upward area of your energy field. As you've probably heard me say, if you've listened to any of these, my work previously, we have a tendency to shove our energy field up towards the top of us and manage everything through our brains and through our will and our, like what we can carry, what we can do, and that's, this upward shoulder. So anybody who has shoulder issues or neck issues, or particularly in this area, throat issues, thyroid issues, it's an over, it's too strong an amount of energy in one area of your system. And we do that pulling up of the energy field and out of our bodies to protect us from feeling what is going on in our environment as children. What the defense system does not know is that you are now an adult, and that you have the ability and capacity, both mentally and physically and energetically, to be able to work with those feelings, to bring them forward in all of their strength and intensity, and that the system will not be overwhelmed. It will be able to, with guidance, with help, with someone walking you through, it will be able to transform and transmute and even metamorphosize those emotions that were too much for a child. And that's their purpose, specifically for that reason, so that you can change this apparent issue, apparent wounding, to its highest frequency, to its highest form, to its greatest potential. So, again, going back to the client last night, she had learned over many, many years how to protect herself from the onslaught of dismissiveness and disregard and putting down, or making ridiculous or small her way of being, her way of seeing things, her way of speaking, in this case by her mother. And what has happened is that she happens to be a being that is exquisitely sensitive, exquisitely powerful in a feeling way. And so this fortressing that she has done has disconnected herself from that which is on the surface painful or infuriating or what have you, but it's also prevented her from really being in deep connection and deep feeling for herself, with the earth, with the divine. So as we worked with this piece and transmuted it, yes, came forward a flow of emotion and allowed her to have another piece of herself on this journey of wholeness. And because she is a very, very feeling, what we call a hugely feeling being, when she is able to experience and flow those emotions in a particular, channeling them in a particular way towards a particular situation, group of people, animals, the earth, anything that she so chooses, then the effect is going to be massive. So she is able to not only, it's not just about healing the trauma, it is about transmuting it to, in a way and to an extent that allows her to access and utilize the power that she has, the power to feel and allow others to feel themselves, help others to feel themselves. She does happen to be a holistic coach. And so that's why this work, that I've been focusing on, and the process that I've created over many decades, is really geared towards holistic practitioners, therapists, spiritual seekers, mystics, those that are working on a mastery level of a soul project. And I invite you to become a member of the Applied Universal Alchemy group, because I'm going to be doing lives primarily there in future, and also to give you information about the upcoming group program. It's a 3-month program where in each gathering we will be working individually with several people and as a group, and you will learn how to speak the language of your body and energy field and wider self and guides and teachers and masters, because not everyone is not everyone receives information through their third eye by any means. Everyone is very individual and very different. So oftentimes the focus of utilizing only your third eye or your higher mind disconnects you from your particular way. So you will be learning that as well in the group program, Personal and Planetary Redesign. And you will learn what it feels like to be in community and really work with the energy of a group and that exponential power that can create dramatic change each and every session for not only the people who will be stepping forward to do some individual work, but the group as a whole, because we feel everything that's going on in the world. Our defense systems do everything possible to keep us from feeling, but that is the magic of this planet. That is the point why you came here to be human, because it allows you to feel. And I invite you to not turn off the news. Find news sources that feel true to you, yes. I have tuned in for the past years to more European news, because it isn't entertainment. It isn't tend to create celebrities of news anchors or news reporters. So it's just strictly news and on the ground. And I do want to, before we drop in to our quick deep dive because there are quite a few powerful helpers here with us today. I do want to read you something that came across my desk that will allow you to feel, hopefully, a little more the individuals that are experiencing what they're experiencing, because it is highly, highly unusual. Those of you who live near a large city, if you can only imagine, I live near Philadelphia. If you can imagine Philadelphia being bombed and attacked, and what would happen to the people there, and where they would go, and where they would shelter. And some people, they're estimating about 1 million people have left Ukraine for the surrounding countries, but there are many that are still stuck there for whatever reasons in the cities. And this is a report coming from Kiev, the capital. And I will post this later today, but it says the headline is "Girls Sheltering in Kiev Subway. We just have to put up with it," quote unquote. 15,000 people are said to be hunkered down there. Blankets, clothing, and suitcases line the corridor. In one corner, a woman reads a book to a group of curious-looking children. Some distance off, a man reads his own book in solitude in a subway train. There's an occasional bark or meow. This is the new normal in Kiev, where the city's mayor says 15,000 people are camped out in the subway, in hallways, on platforms, in trains, in anticipation of a Russian assault on the Ukrainian capital. Quote, "It's not so comfortable," a 9-year-old girl living with her mother and cat in the Doroshiki, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, station tells the New York Times. But you see, this is the situation. Remember, this is a 9-year-old speaking. And she says, "But you see, this is the situation, and we just have to put up with it. It's better to be here than to get into a situation outside." Above ground, Ukrainians are doing whatever they can to hinder the Russians. And the mayor says, trying to feel the president of Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said Thursday that the shelling of civilians proved Ukrainian resistance had thwarted earlier plans. "We don't have the biggest territory, we don't have nuclear arms, we don't provide oil and gas to international markets, but we do have our people. We do have our land. That is what we are fighting for," he said. Please do not just dismiss what's going on as something that's occurring far, far away and to other people. Everything that occurs, whether it is to another people, whether it is to the land, whether it is to the animals and critters on this planet, is part of who we are. And when you allow yourself to feel that, to experience that, you have an opportunity to heal that within you, heal that particular way in which you have experienced it, and ultimately, for those who are working on very, very high level transmutation and metamorphosis, that changes all the way down to the DNA and out of human nature, so that in the very near future, we do not have tyrants or autocrats or people that just feel like they can go in and take from another just because they can. Because we see that on a large scale there, but we see it on a smaller scale, whether it's in regard to businesses, whether it's in regard to thievery. It's all the way down the line. How we take from ourselves, how we treat those people and animals and earth around us. It is all interconnected, and your feeling is the healing. So we're really bringing that in, because that is the spiritual point of what's going on. That is the purpose of what's going on. Not just the old order versus the new way, the pyramidal structure with the very few holding all the power, to a more circular exchange between and among all peoples. But this is about the evolution of the individual and thereby the species. And we have the beautiful animal teacher of heron today, representing renewal for that process, assisting us in that process today. We have, certainly here on the East Coast, the little trees are beginning to bud, the birds are beginning to come out more and or return. I just saw this morning the cardinal couple that have been gone for much of the winter and are now back. And all of this cycle needs to continue, and that's what's occurring, giving us the opportunity to change and transform our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with the earth, our relationship with one another. And we have the powerful peacock teacher also, and representing, the beautiful eyes on the peacock have been connected to the goddess Juno. But in this instance, I am inviting everyone to take advantage of the eyes of the reporters and the people on the ground and the Ukrainian people who are filming and on social media showing us what's going on. Open your eyes, allow them to stay open, to be able to allow yourself to feel, and through those feelings and the transformation of those feelings, change what is going on and change our world. And so with the help of heron and peacock and the tiny little buds beginning to express and open eventually through spring, and the renewal energy of heron, I invite you to allow yourself to sink down deeply within you and let whatever emotions have come forward for you today in this moment in your personal world, or allowing what's going on the world stage to catalyze and provoke those emotions within. And as I read with that 9-year-old child sitting in a subway every day, if you can only imagine your children with your pets, limited food, in a little space carved out in a train or a hallway or the platforms of a subway. And there, so many people, so many men fighting because they want to be free. They want to be self-determining. And you can hopefully relate to that and recognize ways in which perhaps you don't feel that is true for you completely. Perhaps it is a partner, a spouse that seems to be exerting their energy, their way upon you. Perhaps you feel it to be old patterning of the collective. Perhaps you can even tap into the way different parts of you, the mind, the rational parts of you, overpower and prevent the freedom from your true self, from your authentic divine self. For these patterns are within us and being made visible and catalyzing to us for that internal exploration, discovery, transformation. As it did with my client yesterday, who now is able to bring forward more of her essence self, more of her power, channeling this true self through her work, through her life. To the earth, a given situation within a particular country, or perhaps even directed towards the way man overpowers and controls and attempts to own the land, nature. Within this sacred geometric container created today for us, those who are presenting live, those who will be listening at a later point, allow yourself to feel any emotions that are showing up, perhaps in regard to what I read to you, perhaps in regard to something you've heard. For each and every time an emotion comes up and we suppress it, push it down, push it away, minimize it, release it, let it flow out. We are minimizing and dismissing and disregarding its value. I invite you instead to pursue it, to let yourself feel as fully and completely as you can. Thereby revealing to yourself how and when and where you experienced that emotion. Within the context there is nothing that occurs on the stage of your life or the larger national or world stage that does not have some reflection within you. You have been in that particular experience and pattern at some point in your life. And in and through that process of transforming, that previous experience and intensity of emotion, you are actually reweaving the web of this reality. Never fear feeling deeply, intensely, purely. For this is why you came. So that in and through your personal journey as an emotional human being and the transformation or transmutation or metamorphosis of that experience, to accomplish your soul's mission and further evolve this human species from an old way of being to a new way of being. Allow yourself to feel in this moment, physically, emotionally, energetically, what is occurring within you. Perhaps you're feeling the transmission of energetics. Perhaps you are merely sensating different parts of you. Perhaps you are experiencing a fullness or substantiality to your physical form. Whatever it is, I invite you, I entreat you to feel emotionally, physically, energetically. For that is the avenue of healing yourself and the world. And I invite you to put in the comments now or at some point later today what you have been feeling in regard to what's going on in the world, whether it's Ukraine, here in our country, wherever, and what that has enabled you to feel in your own personal experience. And please private message me if you'd like more information and registration for the upcoming group Personal and Planetary Redesign 3-month program. Until tomorrow. Tomorrow we are starting at 12:15 rather than 12:30. I have a previous commitment before all of this began to occur in the world. And until then, please know that it is with the deepest of honor, gratitude, and love that I feel for your presence on this planet. Be well.